Mm, Welcome into the mind of the Dirty Harry. At this time, I will review the February 21st episode of the year 2013 of TNA Impact. So let's begin. The show started off with Hogan coming out and announcing Bully Ray as the number one contender. Bully thanked Hogan and suggested a main event with him, Sting, and Hogan against the Aces and Eights, and Hogan accepted. Now, this has the potential to be good, but we need to see some consequences for Hogan making this decision. Whether it's Dixie Carter questioning Hogan's integrity as a GM for putting his family first, Bully Ray, who had nothing to do with the tournament last week, or maybe see some disgruntled talent confront Hogan about it. Maybe have James Storm walk up to Hogan and say, "Hey Hulk, if I fuck your daughter, can I have a title shot too?" Something for James Storm to do instead of just be randomly from wrestling Jesse one week to wrestling this guy this week. Show us some fallout from Hogan making this decision, some consequence. Now, Bully Ray versus Hardy will be a great feud if management doesn't overthink it too much. Hardy's coming back, so both Bully and Jeff need to be booked strongly, while the Aces and Eights still need to rebuild their credibility that they never really had. Now, one way to do this, since it's obvious that they're going to try to probably put Hardy and Bully together against the Aces and Eights next week. Instead of Hardy coming out cutting a promo about his creatures and all this shit and how he wants revenge, just make him an enigma again. Make him unpredictable. Because, I mean, really, it doesn't have to be that way. Just have him start taking down the Aces and Eights on his own or just going rogue. He doesn't need Bully, doesn't need Hogan. Have Hardy do it on his own. You know, But anyway, tag team was next. Tag team fans, we got some service this week. We saw Bad Influence get involved in the tag team feud, but we don't know if they'll be contending for the tag titles or not. Chris Daniels was competing against Jeff Hardy a few weeks ago for the world title. So I don't know what's really going on with him. We haven't seen him voice any disgruntlement or seen any obsession with him in the world title. So maybe it's safe to say that he is back in the tag title picture. You know, if Bad Fluence becomes contenders in this title picture, then it'll make sense why they did that this week. If they don't, then I'll see this week as a waste. So I'm gonna be patient for it. Was this entertaining? Yeah, it was cool. But where are you going with it? Good match, but I need to see where they're going with this. Right now, I'm still unclear on that. Then we had Robbie E versus Rockstar Spud, continuing what happened last week between the two. Rockstar Spud won via a roll up. Now, this match was good, in my opinion, because it helped everyone involved in it. Rockstar Spud gets the win, build some cred, while the Robbies get to advance their storyline, their big breakup, which I'm like, finally, you know. So this was a good spot. I'm glad they put this on the card because we got some continuation, and we're finally getting to see progress in the Robbie storyline, and it helped everyone. Did a lot for everyone. Now the knockouts were next. We get a four-way elimination title match, and it was good to see Brooke Hogan come out and do her duties as an executive, whatever the hell she is, instead of just sitting backstage and playing daddy's little girl. The match was good, but I just didn't agree with the winner. Velvet Sky is a new Knockouts champ after pinning Gail Kim. Now, it's not always a sign because it rarely happens, seeing, women do a Tower of Doom. But Velvet Sky beating Gail Kim was tough for me to swallow. It would have made more sense if she would have beaten Tara, who didn't have the backup of Jesse. But it's like sometimes us fans were too smart for this shit. It's the problem with TNA fans, like people who've been watching TNA for so long. Because we watch your shows, we're not small children that'll just accept what's put on a screen. Gail Kim's beat down people 5 times her size. We still remember her taking down Awesome Kong and just taking flat out beatings and coming back. And Velvet Sky has always been the prom queen, the pretty girl, who sprays hairspray in people's eyes and gets roll ups to win. So to sit there and to try to sell Velvet Sky beating Gail, it's like, come on, man. A drunk Gail Kim can beat us over Velvet Sky in a wrestling match. So that's probably what I just had the biggest problem with, just being too smart for it. I liked the match, but I didn't agree with Velvet Sky winning, and that's a whole nother video in and of itself. But I didn't want Gail to be the champion. Don't get me wrong on that. I prefer Tessmacher to win this one. That's what I was leaning more towards. Tara dropping the belt is okay because you can only see Jesse interfere so many times and it still be entertaining. But dropping the belt's okay as long as the management has an actual direction they're going with this. And that can be talked about a little bit more later. Next, we got the X Division. Kenny King versus RVD. Guess who won, right? Yeah, RVD won. He won again. It was a good match, though, from both wrestlers. But I just can't believe that RVD, a former world champion, ECW champion, guy who's won every title in the book, is ever going to lose that title, the X Division title, when all he has to do is go against basically guys who are, when you add their experience up together, is nowhere near RVD. I don't ever see him losing it, and that's what brings me to my next point. What pisses TNA fans off the most about RVD is the fact that he does not belong in the X Division. He belongs in the world title picture, and only the world title picture. It's like a demotion or a downgrade at this point in his career. And instead of being pissed off, he just seems cool with it. I'd like to see RVD vacate that title or make a statement on a mic that all he wants is the world title. And downgrade the prestige of the world title, really. You'd rather have an X Division title instead of a world title? I mean, there's got to be a way to do this that doesn't spit on either title. But right now, that's what it's doing for me. It's like, he's cool with just being the X Division champion. That's like Mike Tyson coming back and boxing in the amateurs. You don't expect him to lose. You expect him to just wreck shop until he just, like, I'm bored, and just goes to the big leagues. Or that's like watching LeBron James playing the D League, man. You're like, come on, man. It's overkill at this point. And even though they're having these great matches and getting this real nice rub for him, it's like, come on, man. As a booker, you can't logically have RVD, this guy, lose to these, rookies, and, it's like, come on, man. It's just a big brain fart whoever put him there to win the X Division title, because it's like, Kenny King should be the X Division champion by now. Zema Ion, one of those two, and they should be adding more younger talent to that division. RVD should be in a world title picture. Does not belong in the X Division. World title picture. Or maybe even a TV title. He should not go below those two titles. Now, next we got Samoa Joe versus Bischoff. Now, the only good thing about this was that they're continuing the whole turncoat storyline of Bischoff and Briscoe turning on Kurt Angle and all that. I'm not sold on the match that Angle announced, a cage match between him and one of the two. Because it's like, why should I invest 10 minutes of my life to watch Kurt Angle tear a jobber apart? That's a piss break right there, man. Let's go get some beer from the store break, man, Now, before the main event, we get an update on Jeff Hardy saying he's good to go. He'll be back next week and whatnot. And we get him talking about Bully Ray and all this. Now, back to that. TNA, don't overthink this. Please don't overthink it. Just be creative about how you execute this feud and give us something. And acknowledge the history they have. That's all you have to do. Now, next up, we get the main event. We get Bully Ray and Sting outnumbered by the Aces and Eights because Hogan doesn't come out. Yes, an injured Bully Ray and an aging Sting are able to hold their own even though they're outnumbered. Then, just when Bully and Sting are about to finish off the Aces and Eights, more of the Aces and Eights drag Hogan and Brooke from backstage down to the ring. Bully gets distracted, runs to help his wife. Sting gets jumped and the Aces and Eights win. Okay, now You would think that after months and months of Brooke Hogan being tormented by the Aces and Eights, that someone would have hired some security or had a few wrestlers protect her or some shit. But I mean, it was good to see Ace and Eights get a win. I mean, finally, right? But I understand they want to protect Bully Ray since he's the number one contender. They didn't want him to lose the match, but and since Sting's a legend, you know, he can lose 1,000 matches and it doesn't take away anything from him. But it still doesn't make the Aces and Eights strong to do it the way they did it. You know, it shouldn't take outside interference to beat two 50-year-old guys and a one-legged man. You know, all three of your opponents had bad knees, right? But it took all that just to beat them. You know, you're still getting your ass whipped by a one-legged man and an old man, basically. Now, and that's the show, basically. Now, the positives of this show are well-balanced match card. We got an update on the world title situation. Storylines were advanced, and a new champion was crowned. The negatives. The Aces and Eights storyline is still one-sided. I still don't see the Aces and Eights even beating Robbie E by this point. We still no update on the TV title. We still see Devon carrying it around, but when is the last time he defended it? You know, you mean to tell me no one in the back wants the TV title? You know, I thought it was like the second peg title, meaning if you held it, that means you're close to the world title, but no one seems to care about it, right? Someone please challenge Devon. Magnus, Crimson, Rockstar, Spud, anyone. Someone challenge him. Afterthoughts of the show. How will the Hardy and Bully Ray feud be written? Yeah, I'm not worried about the booking. You know, TNA isn't going to screw these two up. Hardy moves more merchandise than any wrestler in the world, so you know he's going to get booked properly. Bully Ray is being built up, so I doubt they're dumb enough to screw that up. And their history, just throw up their history and the world title. That's all they have to do. You don't even have to overthink it, man. Just don't give us the stereotypical team these two up next week against Devon and Doc, you know. Let Hardy be an enigma. Let him do something creative. Aces and Eights, thoughts. They're not going anywhere. Us fans have just gotta suffer through them and accept them. They're like that annoying relative you have that you don't want to come to the family barbecue. You know, and some booker's probably gonna watch this and be like, "Oh, that's great, man. They care. That's why they say it." No, man, we don't care. That's why we're saying it, man. We don't care, man. Just rename the Aces and Eights the new Job Squad because they can't be two 50-year-old people and a one-legged man with bad knees. How to fix it? Show Devon in more of a leadership role. Establish roles of the people in the group. You know, because one of the landmarks of good groups is people have roles. Evolution, back in WWE. Triple H was the leader. Flair was the mentor. The talented upstart was Orton, and the enforcer was Batista. You knew that. But not with the Aces and Eights, we don't know shit. We have to assume shit off the top of our head, you know. And it's not helping the Aces and Eights. This anonymity. It's not helping them right now. It's making us like, come on, man. Just we don't need them in the ring. Keep the Aces and Eights off the mic in the ring. Please do that. That doesn't help them. Them coming down to the ring does not sell them as outlaws. It makes them look like regular talent. They're meant to be backstage. Show Devon giving orders backstage, being a sergeant. Show Doc being an enforcer. And show Anderson being a second in command. Show us the roles. Knockouts, I'm just going to be patient. The Robbies, TNA, you're doing great with it. Just don't drag it out. Tag team scene, just add bad influence into the title mix, and we'll have a three-way. Some people don't like the Chavo Hernandez thing, but add bad influence, so that way everyone's happy. X Division, have RVD just go for the world title. Kenny King or Zema Ion should be holding that belt and get more talent to the division. That is all I have for this week's Impact. Good show. Shit did happen, but it could always be better. You can always improve TNA. Don't agree with Velvet as the Knockouts champion, but let's wait and see how the division benefits from that, which I personally don't think it will. That's all I got. Out.